Hello, welcome knitters. It is Monday, March the 30th, and I'm coming at you from Scarborough, Ontario, with my co-host. I'm all backwards, right there. My co-host Bowser, who is kind of and another co-host just walked in, Jasper. This is Jasper and Bowser. My family's home, so if we hear some background noise or some dog noises, they're home, so that is great. Everybody's families are home right now because we are self-isolating. Because everybody's home, Jasper has been experiencing more kitchen noises, which are very scary for him, so he's been extra needy lately, but we are enjoying that we're all home together. Luckily, I live with 3 other people, so there is never a lack of people to talk to. We have enough people to play board games, watch shows together, so that's good. I've been self-isolating for 6 days. My work closed down the grooming part of our business, which is what I do. So that's good. So that's good. We even though we're dog groomers, and no matter how much precautions we take from, being around people at the door, there's just not enough we can do to have enough distance, and just for the good of everybody, we've closed down our grooming aspect. So I've been home for 6 days, which means lots of knitting time, even though I haven't really done a lot of knitting. It's kind of a strange thing, I always wish I had more time to knit, wish I had unlimited time on my hands, but now that I have it, I just can't seem to focus and knit. Instead, I pick up my phone and I look at the news, or I just get distracted with other stuff. Even though the projects on my needles are not, I have an array. I have 9 different projects I counted today on my needles, and easy as simple socks to baby blankets to complicated lace shawls or colorwork mittens. I haven't really felt like doing any of them. So yesterday that changed. I put my phone away. I didn't look at my phone at all yesterday, and I actually got some stuff done. So I'm going to show you. That all being said, I hope everybody else is doing well, and I hope that everybody's finding time to do what they want to do, whether that's cook, read books, whatever. I have a visitor at the door. Whatever people want to do, I hope that everybody's finding time to do it. So, do you want to go? Why don't you take him? He's shaking. He's really scared right now. Go, buddy. Come on. We have a scared dog because people are cooking. This dog is broken. Anybody know how to fix a broken dog? Let me know. Not that one. That one is totally fine, and he is so happy that we're all home. He is so content. He's had more walks than he's ever had in a day. We've been trying to get outside a lot and go on short walks. We have a nice backyard, so we've been spending a lot of time in the backyard. So that's good. Yeah, so here are the socks I finished yesterday. These are my Vanilla Latte socks, which is a pattern by Virginia Rose Jeans, and they are super sweet. This is yarn by the Cozy Knitter, and the colorway is called Antique Roses. I don't know if you're getting the true color. I think we're getting a little blown out by this window, even though it's kind of a cloudy day today. Let's just see. Nope. Hopefully that stays. Sometimes the whole thing will fall down. Okay, so that's a bit better. So this is an 8 striper, and we got some nice pretty pinks, some neutrals, and some blues in there. It's a really nice color. I felt a little I don't know, I really like this one. This is, a lot of my socks are very bright and funky, and so it was nice to kind of have something a little more muted. This is what I had left, which I could do in a future scrappy pair of socks, which I would like to do. I want to get a couple more socks knit up and then use a bunch of leftovers. I have a lot of self-striping yarn, and I have a lot of the Cozy Knitters yarn, so maybe it would be cool to do like self-striping Cozy Knitter scrappy socks in the future, but I'd need to do a couple more socks first. Those are my heels and toes, which is this nice mauvey color. They are, I could add them in the socks, or I could add them in another scrappy project. So that's those done. What I did was the pattern is for top down with a like fish lips, like actually a bunch of heel options. Like I have partridge heel, slip stitch heel, tons of heel options, all for a heel flap and gusset. And instead I just pretty much use this pattern, the instructions for this pattern, and I did them toe up and knit them to my foot. Did a fish lips kiss heel, which is the easiest heel for me on the subway and on the go. And then what I did for the leg is I just fold it and knit the leg as long as my foot. And that gives me the fit that I like, and then I do my cuff. So then my cuff and my toe are roughly the same, and then my leg is roughly as long as my foot. That's just my, the size I like, the fit I like. I would do this pattern again. I really liked it. It was the first patterned sock I've had success on. I've done the Hermione's Everyday sock in the past, but that was when I was a newer sock knitter, and what I did on those was I knit with too big of a needle, so the socks looked like they were for a giant. So I ripped those out and never looked at them again. But I also like the Hermione's Everyday pattern, which is also a free pattern. So I would do that again. So those are my socks. I just have everything laid out behind me, which is a really easy way to just pick up and grab the next thing I need. So another thing I finished, which I finished actually a couple weeks ago, and I didn't podcast and I didn't take pictures of this. So it's supposed to be mailed to its recipient, but I'm a little worried about going to the post office. So I think I will have to figure out a way to get this to them. The baby it's meant for has been born, but the baby won't know if the blanket's a little late. So let me see if I can roll back and show you. Yeah. Can you see that? So, this blanket is called, the pattern is called Hotcakes, and it's by Plymouth Yarns. It's called Hotcakes, and it's a free pattern, and it's called the Inside Out Baby Blanket. So what you do is, so I got this yarn from a store in Toronto called Unit, Eweknit, and they're in Toronto, and they are an awesome little yarn shop. I really like them. They have sales often. They have a big online store. The inside of their store is absolutely beautiful. It's a really nice store to go into, and if you're ever visiting Toronto, that would be a great store to visit, along with many other stores, but that is a great one. That one and the Knitting Loft are probably my favorite and must-sees if you're a yarny person visiting Toronto. So this one's more downtown. Unit is downtown more, and it's actually not too far from my work if I jump on the subway. So that I do often. If I go there, that's usually what happens. But this is Cascade 220 Superwash, and what I did was I bought a couple different colors that the recipient said they would like for a baby girl blanket. They wanted grays and pinks. So here we have where I started, this gray. So you start there, and then I did 10 rows of each color with 2 rows of a gray border. So one row you are increasing, and the other row you are just doing plain knitting. So it ended up being really nice. What I did was I put this like, it's kind of patterned, like this salmon-y color, which I think is actually called salmon, I did in between the brighter pink and the lighter pink. I really, really, really like the way that this turned out. You also do a garter stitch border on the end. What I did was I used, I kept increasing for longer than it says to, so I would have done a bigger border, but I was running out of gray. But that's okay, because I got to use most of my yarn. I think I still have quite a bit of this like off-white pinky color. Yeah, so I really like that. But this pattern is meant to be used with Caron Cakes, those like self-striping bigger balls, which would be a much better yarn for this pattern because it's a lot of ends to weave in, and you're not, like, I didn't weave them in so great either. So it's a lot of ends to weave in. It doesn't look that pretty on the inside or on the wrong side. It's just a lot of ends. So if I was ever to do this pattern again, which I would, I really liked it, I would definitely use scrap yarn, scrap worsted or DK weight, and do like a magic knot ball. There's lots of videos on YouTube if you want to see what a magic knot ball is, but I would probably do something like that where I could use up every bit of my scraps and not have like big tails of colors and whatnot. And what you could do with that is you can use, if you have less of a color, you could use that in the middle, and then your larger amounts of like a certain color, use it at the ends, because that would, you know, you got more knitting up here, so with one color you could, yeah. So I really like the pattern. I would definitely knit it again, but I don't have that many worsted weight scraps. This is the beginning of my worsted weight scrap collection, I guess. But I would definitely do it again, and I highly recommend it. And you could even do your bits, like your stripes. You could do less stripes. You could do it with 2 colors. You could color block it. It's a really, really, really nice pattern. It got a bit heavy, you know, as any baby blanket would, but I really liked watching this grow. That is one of the things I really enjoyed about this pattern was I have a lot of baby blankets on the needles right now. Don't know why. And I even have more coming on the needles because I have another baby blanket request. And I have a pattern picked out for that. And I have a feeling I'm not even going to like it as much as this one. Because this was really fun to just watch it grow from the inside out. And then every so often I'd lift it up and show everybody this is how far we've gotten. So I really like that. And I have to mail it. So I have to do that. So those are my 2 finished objects. And yeah, I'll show you some other stuff. You know, during this time, a lot of people are casting on new projects, which is amazing. I love it. I was almost going to cast on a new project, but then thought, okay, I really need to clear some things off the needles. So that is what I'm doing instead. Not to say I won't cast on something new during this time, but like I really need to finish some stuff. So what I did was I downloaded this app on my phone quite a while ago called Tiny Decisions. And what you do is you can create a pinwheel like this. Whoa. Yeah, like a little wheel like this. And I put it in as what to knit. And then I put in all my whips. And I have about 9 whips. And then it spins it and it tells me knit Lucille socks. So that would be my socks that I showed you guys before. I think I showed you last time. These are my Walking Dead socks with the Lucille colorway from Scrumptious Pearl. These are for my boyfriend, and since we last podcasted, I finished the heel. But I mostly have been knitting on the Vanilla Latte socks. I was going to only knit those while watching Walking Dead, which I was doing, and that's when I did the heel. But now they are my easiest knitting on the needles, so those will be now my little purse socks. Not that I'm going anywhere, but if we were on a drive or something, I could knit those. Not that we're going anywhere or doing anything, but that's exciting. So I've really, like, that app is great because a lot of the things I have on the needles right now, there's no favorite whip. So this helps me to pick which knitting project I will knit. But another thing I started, this was a little while ago. We've got some babies coming up. Not mine, but other people's. But I started the baby vertebrae. And I love this pattern so much. It's by Kelly Van Nykirk. It's an amazing pattern, and I bought her ebook, which is like $20-something, and you get like a bajillion patterns. I think you get 7 sizes. I'm doing you get like 7 sizes and with 3 different types of yarn. So fingering, DK, worsted, which is amazing. It's such a good pattern. It is such a good, well-written pattern. It's not a lot of pages. She has everything charted out perfectly. And I did her free one. So if you're not sure if you want to jump into the ebook, do her free one, which is a newborn vertebrae. That one's with fingering weight yarn and just a newborn size. You could use heavier weight yarn with like the proper needles that would work for your gauge, and you could do that for a bigger size baby. I did that newborn vertebrae for a friend of ours, and I had gifted it before I could show it on the podcast. But the yarn I used was like a heavy fingering weight, and it was amazing. Like, it made a great fabric. It fit her a little longer than just a newborn size would. We're not focusing. Okay. I don't know anything about cameras and all that stuff, so hopefully this is all working well. Okay, so the yarn I'm using for this is Artfill Ombres, and it's a great yarn. This is what it looks like. We're on like a tealy part of the yarn, and then we're going to go into a light purple and then a darker purple. So I'm really enjoying this, and then I realized the sleeves. Okay, so then I realized that the sleeves of this sweater are going to be very different if I use this ombre yarn for the entire thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm using the ombre for the top, the body, and then what you do is you pick up along the edges to create like a band, like a neck band, like the edge, like the ridge, like this part of it is like garter stitch. And you pick up those stitches. So I think it'd be cool if I did that part in the ombre still, and like with the purple ombre, but then I don't really want the sleeves to be so different that one sleeve could be light purple, one sleeve could be dark purple. I don't know, maybe I'll change my mind. It's just a baby knit, so I think, you know, babies are easy because they don't complain about their knitting colors. They don't have an opinion about that. They complain about other stuff, but not that. But I might just do the sleeves blue or gray. We'll see. We'll see when I get there. But I'm in the easy part right now, just doing stockinette stitch. So this is a pattern that does require a lot of purling. So if you like purling, great. If you don't like purling, I would do the smaller size with a heavier yarn, which is all explained in the ebook pattern. And I think the ebook pattern goes all the way up to a size 4, child 4, which is amazing. And then she's got the kitty vertebrae, which goes all the way up to whatever, to kid size. And then the mama vertebrae, so that you could have matching sweaters with you and your kiddos. So then that has been great. The other thing I've been doing is I started a Cozy Memories blanket quite a long time ago, mitered squares blanket. This started years ago when I first started knitting, and I was doing a Knit Crate mini skein subscription. And I really like this blanket. It's just that other things come up. I don't tend to reach for it much. I'm always doing gift knitting or obligation knitting, and then I never really think of this one. So my goal has been, during the self-isolation, to do 1 square a day on this Cozy Memories blanket. Now, that has been amazing because it, I don't want to say forces, but it gets me to pick up knitting, which is so good for me. It's so good for my mind, my body. It's such a great thing to do, and it kind of gives me a goal to look at, like, okay, I'll do 1 square a day and just keep going. So this is what it looks like. Now, I started this a very long time ago, so some of the colors are not really what I would pick. None of these are thought through. Some of them are just very small scraps mixed in with like another small scrap, tiny bits of yarn. It's really crazy. It's really wild. It's very, very, very busy. And some of these I've seen have been more thought out and more thought through. And they look amazing. And I really like that. And I think I would do this again, and I think I would do a more thought out one. But there's something about this not being thought out that makes it look okay, because it makes it look super wild. Anyway, I really like it. So I've been doing a square a day, and I don't even know what some of these are, but I figured out a way to do 2 squares at a time, because I've kind of done them staggered where they're located. So like here I have a square here and a square here. So I'm trying to do 2 at a time. Yeah, I think this has been really good for me to just get it on the needles, like just keep working on it and to get it a little further. So I'm really enjoying that. Maybe I'll put some pictures online soon about that on my Ravelry page or my Instagram page. Yeah, it's just a really good pattern. There's a couple free versions of it. I've picked a free version of it. I just found something that works for me and picked the free one. I think if I was to do it again, I would do bigger squares. I have 20 stitches on each side, totaling 40 stitches. I think if I was to make this pattern again, I'd do like 30 stitches on each side to make each square a little bit bigger. and then they would use up a little bit more yarn too. But I'm really, really, really enjoying that, and I really enjoy picking which ball of yarn I'm going to use next. So that's been really fun. Last night, my Tiny Decisions app told me to knit my Dust of Snow shawl. I just dropped everything. So this is a bucket because it's just too big for a bag. So the Dust of Snow wrap is a Helen Stewart pattern, Curious Handmade. And yeah, she came out with this 2 years ago in her Christmas collection, which is the Knit Vent, her Knit Vent collection. So this is the, in like this year, or last year, 2019, and 2018 and 2017, she did in her Knit Vent a pattern that included mini skeins for a like mini skein advent. So that's what this is. This is all mini skeins from the 2018 Lizzie Ann Yarns Advent. So I started this in 2018, yeah, when it first came out, and I got to here, and then I had probably gift knitting I had to finish and stopped. So this has been really fun, and I feel like this has made me think I had a new cast on because I haven't touched it in so long, and it was just getting into the lace part without having a new cast on. So I'm in the lace now a little bit. What it does is all of Helen Stewart's patterns are charted, and they're charted really well. She tells you when to change colors to go to color 1, color 2. So that's good. I'm really liking it. Just keeping all my minis in here. And then the way that they had organized them originally was like they put on which day it is. So you can see day 6. So when in the pattern it says, okay, use color 6, I'll just pull out day 6, wrap it up, and then start. So I've been really liking that. Just something I started last night and enjoyed it a lot. So I'm going to put a progress keeper where I showed it to you today, and then next time hopefully I'll have more to show you. I'll do the same with the Lucille socks and the baby vertebrae because some of the other stuff on my needles I haven't done yet. They haven't come up yet in my Tiny Decisions app, but once they do, once I put any stitches on them, I'll show you guys. Yeah, and so I just wanted to also say everything. The Dust of Snow wrap with Lizzie Ann yarns, the Vanilla Latte socks with the Cozy Knitter, the baby blanket with Cascade 220 from Unit, and the baby vertebrae with Artful Ombre. All of those I was knitting to be put into a knit along, a make along with the Toronto Knitters Guild for the Toronto Knitters Frolic. So originally we were doing a make along to destash, restash, and knit up some stuff that you got from previous frolics or vendors, and then buy stuff from other frolic member, like other vendors this year, which would have been end of April. But due to everything going on, they have canceled the frolic, which is pretty sad because a lot of people depend on what they make from, a lot of vendors really depend on what they make from those types of events. But it's also for the best because really, like, as a society, as a community, we need to stay home, we need to not be around each other. So it's really sad that all these knitting events have been having to be canceled. But we're also really lucky that we can shop online and support these vendors through online. Now I am in a situation where I can't really support these vendors online right now because that's just the way it is right now with my work. I'm not working, so I don't really have the funds to do that. But luckily, I have a lot of stash from vendors who would have been at these events. So I'm going to try to, if you can't support these makers, you can share photos, you can share previous things you've made with their yarn, you can share things online. I'm trying to knit some of their yarn to also be entered into the make-along, because the make-along is still going, so my socks can be entered, and if I finish anything else before the deadline from any of the vendors that would have been there, I can enter those into the make-along. So I'm trying to do that. Yeah, that's just the way it is right now, unfortunately. But I've read a couple funny things about knitting and saying, okay, knitters, this is what we've been waiting for. We're made for this. Stay home and knit. We're really lucky that that's all we have to do, is we're just being asked to stay home. So, yeah, that's good. But definitely, once this is all over, one of the first things we want to do is go out for dinner. We've been eating amazing because my mom is a great cook and she's had lots of time, so she's been cooking like crazy. So we're really lucky that we've been eating like kings and queens, but I don't know why, I just can't wait to be able to go to the movies or go for dinner after all this is over. So I was going to tell you guys about a couple books I read recently. These aren't like, I didn't read 3 books since I last talked to you, but I think I didn't talk about some of them before. So I listen on Audible, which is a membership subscription thing. I really like listening on Audible because I can listen and still knit or take the subway or whatever. I tend to retain the information better from listening versus reading. So one of the books I read was called Where the Crawdads Sing, and it's by Deela Owens. Now, this book was really good. I had heard about it and heard lots of good things about it, so I figured if it was some bestseller, I probably would like it. That was a really good one. It was about a girl who is living in the woods in a southern town, and just kind of the stuff that happens. I wanted to show you the photo of the...
This is one.
Oh, there. I wanted to show you the photo of the cover. It is a really good book. And I liked it so much that I bought the paperback version for my sister for her birthday so that she could read it, because I knew she wouldn't listen to the audio version. She likes to physically read the books. So I got it for her. And I can't wait for her to read it so we can talk about it. And my mom also listened to it on my Audible. She really liked it. So far it is 2 for 2. People in the house like it. The next book, which everyone has talked about and everybody loves, is Educated by Tara Westover. Anybody I've told about this book who hasn't read it and then started reading it really liked it. I don't think I've heard of anyone not liking it, but that would just depend on your preferences, and it's just a very interesting book. It's about a girl who grows up in a sort of survivalist household. She's homeschooled, and she's always been told her whole life that like the world is ending and they have to prepare. Her and some of her siblings don't have birth certificates. They never went to school, and she is in an abusive household as well, so she goes through tons of stuff to be able to get out of her living situation and go to school and get her master's and do all these amazing things. It's kind of a great book, like a really interesting book. So I really like that one. And I also bought that for my sister for her birthday so that she could read it. Her birthday hasn't happened yet, but I bought them and said, you need to read these. These are part of your gift. So I'm just trying to get the photo of... Okay, so there is Educated, the photo of it. I do believe that there's different covers of this book, but it's such a good book. It's a really good book, and also probably a bestseller or something right now. And then the next book the most recent book I listened to was a book that is a series, a 4-book series, I think. And it's kind of like a young adult fantasy kind of book. Kind of reminded me of Twilight, but like, yeah, I guess it's like similar to Twilight. That's the only thing I can compare it to. It's not like Harry Potter. Like, it's definitely more of a young adult, but with not as like family friendly as Harry Potter. It has more violence and more like sexual stuff in it, but it's called A Court of Thorn and Roses. No, Court Thorn and Roses. And that is by Sarah J. Maas. I really liked it. I listened to it when we were walking the dog, like when I was walking the dogs and on my way to work. It wasn't one that I could listen to at work because there was just always too much going on, but I really liked it. It's this girl who is like just a normal human and gets involved with like fairies and just a very interesting like fantasy world. I haven't read a book like that in a while, so it was kind of nice, just a nice like escape, which I think is amazing with books, is that you can just read it and listen to it and like escape to a different place. It was kind of cool. So that's a good book, and I'm gonna start to read the second book in the series now, or listen to the second book. But I haven't really had like my normal book listening routine is a little bit just different right now. Usually I'll listen on walks or on my way to work, but I haven't done that. Now I have been walking, but usually I'm with someone, so it's like you're not gonna put in headphones and listen to a book. But yeah, I'm really enjoying my books still. We've been watching a lot of shows, like everybody else. Watching some movies. We watched The Secret Life of Pets 2. That was a really good movie. Just really funny and like fun for adults and kids. We laughed a lot. We watched Tiger King. That was intense. I had listened to the podcast about Tiger King. I think it's by Wondery, and it's called Joe Exotic. And so I already knew the story and what happens, but it's just pretty crazy to see the video clips of this guy and what he's really like. So that was an interesting little, 6-episode escape for a bit. We've been watching the latest series 3 of Ozark, and that's been good. But we're like hanging on the edge of our seat every episode because every single episode of Ozark seems like a season finale because so much happens in every episode. So we've been like pacing ourselves with that one and watching that as a family as well. We did play some Rummy Cube, which is a game with like little tiles. I guess it's a German game. We always played it when we were growing up. So that was fun. We've been busy with, we downloaded The Sims. So we've been playing The Sims, which is good. Just a good distraction. Everything is just keeping you busy right now. I'm kind of separating myself from the news and the headlines because I find when I look at like my Google News things, the headlines always grab your attention, and there's some of them are so negative, So the headlines really grab your attention, and then you look at the article and it's not as bad as the headline makes it seem to be. So unless you were to read every single article and understand what they're talking about, but that headline grabs you, the headlines are the negative thing. And you'd have to read every article to be like, oh, okay, it is okay to walk for 20 minutes, to go outside for, in the backyard or whatever. I don't know. It's just like really freaky. I've been like paying attention to the important stuff, but trying to filter out the negative stuff. Also taking little breaks from Instagram, even though in my head I want to like post on Instagram all the time. I haven't been. It's fine. It's fine. It's whatever you want it to be, At this time, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves mentally, physically, and that's just doing what you got to do. Whether you learn a new language or work out every day, or if you don't, it doesn't matter. It's just getting by right now and getting through what you got to get through. So that's where I'm at. I'm hoping to get progress on the things I showed you. My main goal, my main whip is my Cozy Memories blanket, because they're tiny squares that feel good and are fun to knit. So that is my main goal, is to knit on that, and everything else is just bonus. I'm just putting it that way. Everything else I touch is a bonus. So yeah, that is that. And I will talk to you guys later. I'm not going to say when, because I'm just going to talk to you later. I hope everybody is safe and well. Bye-bye.